Swadika, welcome to Thailand Today program. I'm Kusuma Yothasamut. In responding to feedback from activists and citizens groups, the cabinet of Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha of Thailand has approved a plan on November 21, 2017 to include a human rights platform and agenda into Thailand 4.0, which is the 20-year and national strategy to evolve the country's economy and society to higher levels of technology, creativity, and innovation. Today, Ms. Nareeluc Paichaiyapoom, she's the Director of Information Human Rights Division, Department of Rights and Liberties Protection under the Ministry of Justice, will tell us more. Why does the government need to integrate human rights into the National Development Plan, and why does the inclusion of human rights fit into the national agenda to driving the government's Thailand 4.0 initiative for a sustainable development? Please join me to welcome Ms. Nareeluc Paichaiyapoom. She's the Director of International Human Rights Division, Department of Rights and Liberties Protection under the Ministry of Justice. Swadika.
Swadika.
Well, welcome to Thailand Today program.
Thank you.
Well, the discussion today is so important that Thai government need to integrate human rights into the National Development Plan. So this is considered as a good news.
Yeah, of course.
For the Kingdom of Thailand.
Sure.
And for the people to look at us. Mm-hmm. So what actually, we haven't had this before. Mm-hmm. It's going to be first time.
Yes.
Right. So what are the main goal for this place?
Okay. Thank you very much for your question. First of all, I'd like to thank the NBT World channel for inviting me to be here today and providing me the opportunity to give information on about the national agenda on human rights to the audience. As you may aware that Ministry of Justice by the Rights and Liberty Protection Department has proposed the national agenda to the cabinet for consideration, and the cabinet has already approved the national agenda on the 21st of November, just 2 weeks ago. There are four main reasons why we propose to include human rights into the national agenda. First, you may notice from the title of national agenda, it is the national agenda, human rights as driving force of Thailand 4.0 for sustainable development. So it is already indicated in the name that we like to use human rights as an important tool to drive forward the Thailand 4.0 policy and 20 years national strategies in order to ensure that the country's development will be done in a sustainable manner, both from the social and economic perspective. And this is also in accordance with the sufficient economy philosophy of the King Rama IX. And second, the announcement of the national agenda, we also ensure the government's commitment to put human rights in a priority, as a priority policy for the government. And it's also ensure that all line agencies will incorporate human rights into their own operations. Apart from that, the national agenda on human rights also express government's willingness and readiness to collaborate with the all players, including international communities, on the issue of human rights. And the third reason why we include propose human rights as a national agenda is because we want to boost the implementation of National Human Rights Action Plan. Now we are on the third National Human Rights Action Plan. It will be expire next year in the year 2018. And the national agenda will also serve as a basis for drafting of the fourth National Human Rights Action Plan, which will be enforced from 2019 to 2023. And because during the past few years, during the past year, we found that one of the biggest challenge of National Human Rights Action Plan is the implementation, the actual implementation. So I think with the announcement of the national agenda, it will help encourage all relevant agencies to be more active in implementing the National Human Rights Plan. And lastly, our highest goal is to create stability, equality, happy, prosperity, and a peaceful society where people respect the rights of each other and sympathetic for one another. And this value will enable the country towards the stability, prosperity, and sustainability.
Very interesting, because if it is gone into such a way, so integration needed for that kind of thing. So, but there are various groups of these activists or citizens, you see. So they have played quite a vital role. For this today, do they agree? Did they come and listen to you?
Yeah, good questions. Civil society play a very important role in drafting the national agenda, because during the process of drafting, we apart from reviewing doing the desk review, like reviewing information and documentation, we also conduct the regional consultation in 5 regions of the country. And more than 1,000 representatives from different sectors and different provinces have taken part in this regional consultation, and they share their inputs and also comments and their concern in their local area. And moreover, we also upload the draft national agenda into our website to get further comments. And also in the regional consultation, we conduct survey as well, that whether or not they like to support the national agenda. And the results shows that more than 85% of participants are happy and like to support and push forward the successful of the national agenda. So it's a positive response, isn't it?
It is so. Yes, it is. Because as a Kingdom of Thailand, we got everything in Thailand. So except the small, tiny loophole that being worried by people outside of Thailand. But actually it can be done in a Thai way or whatever, get into, especially this government is trying so hard to patch up things on that. So how important of human rights in the national strategy, focusing on the what you call capital development?
Actually, the national agenda is kind of a set of principles and provide a broad measure to promotion and protection of human rights. It's not focused on specific target groups or specific issues. But of course, this kind of issue like human development and protection of environment, something like this, were raised in the regional consultation. But for the detail of activities and strategy, it will be shown and you can be found in the National Human Rights Action Plan, but it's not shown in the national agenda because it's just give the broad measures.
So the key points of this plan is what do you call that? It's also include the human rights platforms into it. So this also serve as a Thailand 4.0 model. So one part of that, the government is really meant it to have it done to be 20 years.
20 years national strategies.
National strategies. That means what? That means that working from today to 20 years, or have it done to be used for 20 years?
But actually, national agenda is only valid for 2 years.
For 2 years?
For 2 years only.
Actually, in Thailand, we have not much of the problem of the activists and all that. You see, because of what? Because they understand the situation, or what?
I think the situation is getting better, and people are more aware of human rights and they learn to respect each other. So the human rights situation is getting better, but there are still remaining challenge remaining. Of course, there are a number of human rights activists, calling, like requesting their rights and calling for propose some request to the government. So it's the duty of government to consider this request.
Yeah, it can be done here and there anyway. So which state agency are involving with this developing actions of this under the plan?
Yes, there are a number of state agencies involved in the development of this national agenda. But actually, the national agenda itself does not have legal binding effect. But it's actually what once announced, it should serve as an underlying theme for the work of all state agencies. So it is their duty to develop the kind of action plan to be in line with the national agenda.
When we talk about Thailand 4.0, what kind of what do you call topics or anything to go in it under the 4.0?
I think it's better for me to explain
Please
about
do.
what is the national agenda.
Yeah,
What is
yeah,
the
yeah.
key message
A
from
key
national
message of
agenda?
that, yeah, please.
Okay, it will take long time. It will take time a bit, but I think it's
okay.
better to explain.
Better to have them understand
Yeah.
because our audience is in foreign country, you know.
Yes,
They need
yes.
to know.
And I would
Yes.
like to start by reciting the catchphrase that decoding national agenda 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1 equal goal, a key to peaceful society. So let me elaborate on
Please
that.
do, please do.
The
4.1.
overall objective of the national agenda is to make Thai society one which promotes rights, liberties, equality by taking into consideration of human dignity
Human
and
dignity.
aiming for peaceful society. The key points of national agenda on human rights is the word that I mentioned earlier, 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1 equal goal.
Okay.
In Thai, it's 4 3 2 1 goal. It means 4 สร้าง 3 ปรับ 2 ขับ 1 ลด
Well, in Thailand, we do consider reaching the goal from highest to the lowest. Make it to a figure like 4, 3, 2, and 1. Then arriving to the goal. So now the director of International Human Rights Division going to explain each of it. Please do.
Yes. First, start by 4 สร้าง
Okay.
For create.
For creativity.
The first is to create human rights awareness to all sectors.
Awareness.
Yes. And in order to make them aware of their rights, liberty, and also respect the other people
respect.
rights. And also the aim of this first create is to avoid the occurrence of human rights violation. Next is the second. Second is the second create.
Yes.
Is to create follow-up and monitoring mechanism on human rights situation, the situation of violation of human rights, in order to address the human rights problem in a more expedient and efficient manner. Okay. The third create is to create human rights culture and values in the country whereby everyone is respecting each other and to create better society, reduce disparity, and enhance equality that could lead to peaceful society as a goal. The fourth create is to create program to build up capacity of all sectors, especially those working in the human rights work, and to enable them to be more capable to engaging in human rights work. We strongly believe that if we work together, like in hand, the society will become better and it will help improve a better situation of the country as a whole.
Of course.
Next.
Go slow, we have
Yeah,
time.
sure. Okay. Next is the 3 ปรับ
Yes.
3 ปรับ in English is 3 improves.
Improvement.
Yes,
okay.
3 improvement. The first improve is to improve human rights violation database,
Database.
which display results and the status of human rights case, one which cover all areas and provinces, because at the moment there is no single or central database system on human rights violation. Each agency has their own statistic and system of collecting the case, so that we don't have a single database system. So one of our goal is to integrate into one system, so then it will help concerned agency to analyze and solve problem in each specific area and issue correctly. And second improve is to improve government official perspective towards the work of human rights, just to urge them to understand that the human rights, promotion and protection of human rights is the duty of everyone. It's not only one single agency responsible for that. And it is indeed necessary for them to incorporate human rights into their work. And the third improve is to improve laws, rules, regulations, and measures and orders to be in line with international human rights standards. So they have to review and reassure that their work and their laws, regulations are in line with relevant international human rights standard. And if not, they have to adjust or propose for the amendment to make it in line with the international obligation to which Thailand is a state party. Next.
Yes. Last but
Let
not
me
least.
breathe a bit.
Last but not least.
Last but not least is the สองขับ สองขับ is in English is two drives. Two drives. The first drive is to drive implementation of National Human Rights Action Plan to be more effective and concrete manner. Second is to drive forward the selection of the role model organization and role model provinces to be a lesson learned for other agencies. The last one is หนึ่งลด หนึ่งลด is in English is one reduce. The aim is just to reduce the human rights violation case every year in a tangible manner. So all four creates, three improves, two drives,
and
one reduced. Also for the highest goal, as I mentioned earlier, which is to achieve stability, prosperity, and sustainability society.
So which states, agencies involving with the developing action under the plan?
Okay. Actually, as I mentioned earlier, we have a drafting process, which is actually many state agencies involved in the drafting process. And although there is no legal binding, the national agenda, but it is, as I mentioned earlier, it would or should use as an underlying theme for all government agency. So I would say that it's actually a duty of every state agency to develop their own action plan to be in line with the national human rights agenda and also incorporate human rights into their work and as well as review and reassure that their existing operation are in line with relevant international standard and adjust it. And so it is a duty of everyone. And in the national agenda, it is compulsory for them to report back to the cabinet at the end, in November every year.
November every year.
November every year. But as I mentioned earlier, it's the national agenda only valid for 2 years.
So this is what is the time frame?
Yeah, the time frame is actually 2 years. But this is the first phase of the national agenda.
Okay.
At the moment, it's only 2 years. But our we are thinking of we are thinking to perhaps it's also we are so concerned about continuation of implementing the national agenda. So we have to sort it out whether we have to extend or include it in the. Of course, it will be included in the National Human Rights Plan. The National Human Rights Plan has a 5-year period until 2023.
But our Thai Ministry of Justice could respond to the United Nations agenda for this? Agencies concerned on this?
I think so because when we draft the national agenda, we have to analyze all information that we have about the situation of human rights in the country and concern from international bodies or international communities and Thai context. And we come up with finalize the key message of the national agenda. So if all agency responds to this national agenda and include and have develop their own plan, it will definitely help alleviate the concern from the United Nations.
When I asked the director about this is the first time, it's not because the first time that Thailand is working up all these driving or human rights, but to have it better for the first time, that to get into it really, to get into the plan, the government plan, which is going to be great for that. So what is your expectation then?
Generally speaking, I think at present the issue of human rights is become very influential in the work of almost every government in the world. This is because at international level, the principle of human rights is widely accepted. and is used as a key to the peaceful and prosperous global community. Without respecting or complying with the human rights, a country can be subjected to the economic and political pressure, and this in turn could adversely affect to the such country, and more specifically, economic developments will most likely to be stagnant, and if not, if the issue of human rights are left unresolved. So I believe that their national agenda on human rights is a good initiative of the government. I think it's it's a good initiative of the government, and I do hope that everyone, including international community, will welcome this initiative. However, as it is just the first, this is just the first phase of implementing of the national agenda. So it takes time, So I hope everyone will, support and welcome the initiative of government, and it will help. I hope in the long term it will help boost economic and social and international relationship between Thailand and other countries as well.
Of course, because if we're dealing with the way of life, this is even the workmanship. The foreign people who work here in Thailand, and this also promote and boosting up the relationship, like you said, they were coming in. This is one of the small points, but it's also important sometimes. You want to add up anything? I have your half minute.
I just want to end up, actually, I have addressed the significance of the human rights issue at the international level, domestic level, and also highlight on the reason why we propose for the national agenda, and also touch on the content of the national agenda a little bit. To sum up, I think the issue of human rights is universal, and this is embedded in everyone, in every aspect of our individual lives, communities, and societies. So it is a powerful tool which could be used to strengthen our collective efforts to push for sustainable development of our country. And the country and the world need to be inclusive. I think the more that the individuals are allowed to participate in society, the more prosperous, the more rich the society will become.
Okay.
And after all, despite we born differently, but we are all equal. The national agenda as well as national action plan on human rights is exactly what we need. But the most important thing is that we need to work together and walk together for the successful of the national agenda. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
For your undertaking.
Thank you.
We're ending up our program with thanks to Ms. Nareeluc, Paichaiyapoom, Chief Director of International Human Rights Division, Department of Rights and Liberties Protection under the Ministry of Justice. Thank you so much for being here. Please do come back and tell us for the progress of this. Such important and very happy to hear that.
Thank you so much.
Ms. Nareeluc, Paichaiyapoom, Director of International Human Rights Division, Department of Rights and Liberties Protection, Ministry of Justice. Thank you so much for your time, for joining our program today. It's clear that the current government has made another effort in the area of human rights after Thailand has been praised by United Nations agencies for making notable progress in several areas, including those involving treatment of migrants, prisoners, stateless people, and community rights. Thank you for watching Thailand Today. I'm Kusuma Yotha Samut. Hope to see you again. Swadika.